While Anthony Albanese is in China, our US allies are pressuring his government for clarity around whose side we would take in the event of a conflict between the world's two superpowers.
The Sydney Morning Herald has quoted an anonymous senior US defence official saying, and I quote, "There's a conversation," this is between the US and Australia, "about command structure, about alignment of assets. We would want, in any scenario, a clear sense of what we can expect from Australia." Well, despite our alliance with the US, the Prime Minister refused to say which side he would be on. Take a look.
What role would Australia play if the US and China went to war over Taiwan?
Look, our aim of investing in our capability and as well investing in our relationships is about advancing peace and security in our region. That's our objective, and that is why we invest in our region.
Meanwhile, Defence Industry Minister Pat Conroy was even more on the fence.
The sole power to commit Australia to war or to allow our territory to be used for a conflict is the elected government of the day. That is our position. Sovereignty will always be prioritised, and that will continue to be our position.
But that's not the question that's being asked. It's not about sovereignty. It's how we would react if that scenario was established. Are we giving a clear answer behind closed doors to...
We don't engage in hypotheticals. We don't discuss hypotheticals. But secondly, the decision to commit Australian troops to a conflict will be made by the government of the day, not in advance.
What's very clear is Labor seems to be needing some gentle reminding of what an alliance is. Don't forget, we're actually part of ANZUS, okay? We have an obligation under the ANZUS Treaty. We've made this commitment. We are still part of ANZUS, believe it or not. And as such, if we're not going to, then you may as well just tear up the agreement. But right now, it's clear that Anthony Albanese cannot give an answer each way. I don't think it's an unreasonable question or an unreasonable ask right now. The reality is that Taiwan is indeed facing constant military threats and intimidation from China. It was only a few weeks ago that the US Secretary of Defence Pete Hegseth even reiterated just how severe the situation is right now. I read a very interesting article by ASPI. The author was Jennifer Parker, who was a long-time warfare officer. She wrote about how even if China was to take on Taiwan by force, it's not just going to be a straightforward island conflict in Taiwan. It is going to spread more specifically into an Indo-Pacific conflict. So naturally, what does that mean? It means that Australia would be at risk. There would be strategic implications for Australia. But yet our Prime Minister's asked about it and he just seemingly doesn't have a position, James. He doesn't know. I mean, nobody wants war. But why is he unable to articulate it? We have an alliance with the United States.
Well, the problem is that he can't articulate it because he's standing in Shanghai. That's not the place you articulate that policy. No. It should have been clear before he went to China. So he's put himself in this position. The other thing that's interesting is the Assistant Defence Industry Minister saying he won't speak about hypotheticals. Well, China's designs on Taiwan are hardly hypothetical. Our own defence has said that they expect some sort of invasion by about 2027, which is in the very near future. So this is a live question. It's not some airy-fairy hypothetical. People should know. The other thing about this is the Trump administration believes in peace through strength. Yeah. There was a story the other day about Donald Trump warning Vladimir Putin, if you do too much in Ukraine, we will bomb the hell out of you. He's apparently said the same thing to Xi Jinping. He said the same thing to the Ayatollahs. So that's why America wants a public commitment from Australia. If China move on Taiwan, Australia would stand with the US. That's a deterrent to China acting because they know that there are strong nations who would stand up to them. But failing to get that plays into China's hands where they're starting to calculate, well, maybe we could do this and we wouldn't face as much opposition as we might. So it makes sense for America to want a commitment from Australia. And in addition, of course, the US are making quite an investment in terms of nuclear technology, in terms of prioritising subs for Australia over subs for themselves. America want a return on investment. They want a guarantee up front that we will be a strong ally, and they're just not getting that from our government right now.
But they're not getting a lot from our government now. They've asked us to lift our defence spending. We're not doing that. Now we hear reports that the Pentagon is considering making Australia pay more under the AUKUS deal. We don't even know if there is going to be an AUKUS deal. There are so many unknowns. And the one common denominator in all of this is the fact that Anthony Albanese has been unable to get this meeting with Donald Trump. And Donald Trump's meeting with people, James. There have been leaders of multiple countries around the world going over to the White House. It's not that Donald Trump is not taking anything. Sky News spoke to John Howard about this over the weekend. Really interesting comments. This is what the former PM said.
You don't treat a relationship as important as according to the chance whim of a meeting on the sidelines of another meeting. You just ring up and say, I want to come and see you in Washington.
That's what you would do?
Yeah, I mean, I used to go to see President Bush, and before that President Clinton. I had good relations with both of them, and I just think it's poor form to say the least. Is he scared of meeting him? I don't know.
Yeah, John Howard is absolutely right. And I don't know whether it's a case that Anthony Albanese can't get a meeting with the leader of the United States. If he really wanted one, he would be able to organise it, surely. The United States and Australia have always been close allies. The US have a big interest in a relationship with Australia. If Albanese wanted a meeting, he could get himself to Washington and have a meeting. The fact it hasn't happened, I think, says more about Anthony Albanese than it does about Donald Trump.
Absolutely, I agree.